There's nothing I love more in a game than a good hardcore survival mode. If I'm not strapped for supplies and absolutely terrified 24/7, it just ain't for me. One of my favorite experiences of this nature was Fallout 4 Survival Mode. It completely changed the way I played, and quickly became my definitive way to experience Fallout 4. So when I found out that Skyrim, one of my favorite games of all time, had a similar mode that somehow flew under my radar, I was hooked. Skyrim Survival Mode just might be a masterpiece. So if you're like me, you probably had no idea that Skyrim even had a survival mode. I've been playing the game since launch, but survival mode actually stems from the Creation Club. I consider myself a pretty happy person, which means I've never looked too deep into the cesspool known as the Creation Club. This mode was re-released for free via the Anniversary Edition in 2021, so most players should now have free access to it. But enough about its history, let's look into the mode itself. The first thing you'll probably notice when you boot up survival mode are your needs: hunger and fatigue. You now need to eat and sleep during your playthrough, and failing to do so will end poorly for you. Skyrim has a pretty deep cooking system, but I can't say that I used it much before this playthrough. There was just no reason to, since there was a multitude of more convenient ways to heal yourself. Now, food is an absolute necessity. You either have to buy food, steal it, or hunt it yourself. Early on especially, it seems like you're always on the hunt for your next meal. You have to be careful though, as eating raw food can lead to you getting food poisoning, which brings a debuff to stamina and magicka regen. Hunger now affects your overall stamina, so you're going to want to sort this out as soon as you can. Sleeping is another thing that I rarely ever did in Skyrim. It's way easier to just wait to pass the time rather than finding a bed to sleep in. Now, whenever I enter a new city, the first thing I do is find an inn and rent a room for the night. It's small changes like this that just add so much more immersion to the experience. Survival mode works great with the camping creation, so I used that for the majority of my playthrough, and it works beautifully. Setting up camp for the night and cooking before you go to sleep is peak Skyrim. Screw killing dragons, this is a vision that Todd promised us. The next detail survival mode changes, and maybe my favorite, is how weather works. You're now at the mercy of the elements, so you have to plan accordingly in order to not freeze to death. The map is separated into 3 different regions: warm, cool, and freezing. These are pretty straightforward, so it's easy to tell what the temperature of your region is. Most armor and clothing now has a warmth rating, so sometimes you might need to wear some mediocre armor just to stay warm. Precipitation like rain or snow will make it even colder for you, so you might have to wait it out before you go make your journey. It's small trade-offs like this that make me love these difficulty modes. As you can imagine, the weather completely changes the way you play the game. I found myself naturally gravitating towards warmer climates early on, eventually migrating north when I got better equipment. Sometimes it would rain for a day or two, and when this happened, I was just kind of forced to wait it out, or risk dying on the road. I know that probably sounds lame as hell to a lot of you, but I loved it. One of the most controversial additions, or omissions rather, is removal of fast travel. While this might seem like a downside for a lot of people, I think this was a borderline genius decision, and here's why. Skyrim has a beautiful map, maybe one of the best of the 2010s. It seems like so much detail was poured into every inch of it, but unfortunately after a few hours, it's just relegated to a fast travel simulator. Without fast travel, you're forced to truly experience the map, and you start to find stuff you never have before. You notice how each region has its own distinct feel, how the roads wind up and down with the landscape, and so much more. Pair this with a new weather system, and you truly feel like a pilgrim, navigating this beautiful yet dangerous world. Even after playing the game for almost 15 years, I was still discovering little areas I'd never seen before, or random encounters I never got. To add even more of a challenge, your base carry weight has been reduced from 300 to 150, and items that didn't have weight in base game like arrows and lockpicks now do. Pair this with no fast travel, and you now need to consider what you carry more than ever. No more picking up every piece of loot you come across. Now, every item needs a purpose. I always found myself traveling super light, bringing only 1 or 2 weapons and some lightweight armor. Buying property is more advantageous now, not only for the bed to sleep in, but being able to store items across the map. Now that you have this decreased carry weight, your loot is more than just a number. You have to make some painstaking decisions on what will and won't accompany you on the road. Lastly, here are some of the smaller miscellaneous changes added in survival mode. Survival mode removes a natural health regeneration in the game. Now, the only way to regain health is via potions, spells, or food. Leveling up has also been changed, as you now need to sleep in a bed in order to receive new perks. Shrine offerings are no longer free, and require a gold offering in order to receive them. Lastly, most playable races have special buffs and debuffs related to survival mode, like resist fatigue or weakness to cold. So survival mode is great, but I found that there were certain aspects of it that were lacking, especially compared to Fallout 4's survival mode. That's why I decided to tap into the well of unpaid labor that's known as modding, and put together a list of a few mods that just give survival mode that little bit extra it was needing all along. The first thing that needed a drastic overhaul was combat. Base survival mode doesn't actually affect combat at all. It recommends playing on legendary for the ultimate challenge, but that's way too grindy for me, so we're going to be using Wildcat Combat of Skyrim. This is a highly customizable, complete overhaul of the combat in the game. This mod changes quite a bit, but the thing I loved about it is that I can control how much damage I give and receive, so I can tweak it into a somewhat more realistic experience. That being said, you can customize it to whatever feels right for you. The next mod I used was Scarcity Less Loot. As the name implies, this mod basically makes loot more rare. It's harder to get OP equipment, so you're forced to use equipment that you would have rarely used in the past. It also makes crafting more important, since you won't be finding this stuff out in the wild. It just doesn't make sense that every single bandit in the world has this top tier equipment, but this mod makes it feel more grounded. Hunting in base game Skyrim is kinda bad. With this newly found importance of food, I wanted a mod that made hunting more immersive and fun, so I added Simple Hunting Overhaul. You can now skin and dress the animals you kill, as well as selling their carcasses. This isn't a huge mod by any means, but I love how immersive it is to go on a few day-long hunting trip, seeing which game I can take down and people I encounter. Though it doesn't change the game as much as the previous mods, it's still more than worth your time. Skyrim Survival Mode isn't perfect, by any means, but it made me play the game in a way I've never played before. If it's able to completely change the game for me at this level almost 15 years later, that's a win in my book. Have you played Skyrim Survival Mode? If so, what do you think about it? While you're down there, let me know which game you prefer, Skyrim or Fallout 4. If you liked the video, liking and subscribing helps the channel out a lot. I'm always posting videos just like this, so be sure to turn on the bell notification. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.